Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Ashley and this is Casually Crafted and this is Crafty Chat number 9. So today I have actually quite a few finished objects and most of them were finished in the last 3 or 4 days. So they're all pretty small, but I had kind of lost my crojo a little bit right after my last video actually, so I didn't get a whole lot done until this week. So I will start with, I didn't actually decide what to start with. Right after my last video, we went to visit my parents. And so on the drive, it's about a 5.5, 6 hour drive, I decided to start a hat for Hat Not Hate. So this is the one that I made. This is using, it's the herringbone pattern, that's back, sorry, by Bag O' Day, one of hers that she did during her like 7 days of hats. This yarn, I don't have it with me, is the one I got from Joann's. That was like $1.50 and it's in some other language. Anyway, it's like a lightweight 3 and she used a 4, so I had to use a smaller hook, and so I kind of followed her pattern, but I did more increases to make it fit. And yeah, so I did that on the drive, mostly on the drive there. I had to frog it back a little bit because it just kind of kept growing even though I stopped increasing. It was kind of weird. So it was going to be way above the size requirements that Lion Brand wanted. So it did take a little longer than I expected. So I actually finished it on our drive home because I was kind of over it for a little bit. But yeah, so that's that one. And then on the way back, I started a second hat, and here's that. And this is a V-stitch hat pattern by 5 Little Monsters. It's a blog, and I have a bunch of her hats saved on my Pinterest because she has a lot that have kids sizes and adult sizes. I feel like it's really easy to find adult size hat patterns, but for these, the Hat Not Hate hats are pretty much for kids, and yes, some adult sizes still work, but so I did the kid size, and these are just Red Heart Super Savers. I don't remember the color of this one. This one's called Cool Blue or something like that, and I'm pretty sure it's a discontinued color. So there's that one. And then my husband wanted, well, so I was scrolling through Pinterest and I saw a golf club cover, and I was like, hey, would you want something like this? Is this something you'd like? And he's like, yeah, maybe. And then a week later, he's like, so about that golf club cover. I was like, oh, you did want that. So he just wanted one for his driver, and I don't know anything about golf clubs. Like, I've never even gone golfing. So I found a pattern for just a basic golf club cover from Repeat Craft for Me, and I kind of sort of followed it, and then we like put it on his driver and decided where the pom-pom would go. I'll show you. So he picked the colors. They're both just acrylic. This bright green is something I got at an estate sale years ago, and it was like an old lady's estate sale, so it's probably super old yarn. And then so he wanted the main part to be green and then the cuff part to be black with the pom-pom to match. So her pattern, you would have put the pom-pom right here on top, and he took his driver back to the car, so I couldn't set it on it to show you. But the way the driver is shaped is more like this. We thought it looked like Kermit the Frog with an afro or something. So we put the pom-pom where it would be kind of on the top of the driver. And so I basically followed her pattern. I did have to make it a little bit wider to fit over the head of that. And then she used half double crochet in the front and back loops for this part. And I just did double crochet because it was really thick compared to the green. So it does stretch over. It like barely stretches on, but it works. So that's kind of his Father's Day gift from me, even though I'm not really saying it is, but that is one thing that I finished this week. Alright, my last finished object is, and I started this weeks ago, but just didn't work on it a lot, was this necklace. It's red, white, and blue beads. You can't see the white ones as well. And just white cotton thread. A few weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago now, Summer from Summer's Tips and Stitches was wearing a necklace and talking about the necklaces her sister makes. And she posted the link to that in her description box, so to the video tutorial for that. And I do like making, necklaces. Normally I just do 1 or 2 or 3 strands, and so I thought I would try this lady's pattern. She uses like actual yarn, like maybe like fingering weight yarn. So I knew mine was going to be smaller than hers, since I still followed her like numbers, have amounts of chains and stuff in between each bead. So it barely fits over my head, but it is cotton, so it does stretch a little bit. Not really sure what happened with this one. It's a little longer than the rest. I don't know if I added an extra bead or what, but I was feeling patriotic, so that's my red, white, and blue necklace. And there's a hair on it somewhere, sorry. Alright, so that's all for my finished objects. Like I said, lots of little things. But yeah, what can you do? Alright, so for whips, they're all on the floor, sorry. I'm still working on my skirt by Siren's Crochet with my Karen cotton cakes, and I'm almost done. I have maybe 7 rows to go. I tried it on the other day and I want it a little bit longer. Pretty sure I have enough yarn to finish it, or I'll just go till I run out. So there's that. Then, sorry, I didn't like open my bags or anything this time. I have my shell stitch baby blanket that I showed you last time, that I had just started. At this point, this is 1 whole cake of the Lion Brand's shawl in a cake. Did I just show you the wrong side? So since it ended in pink, I was kind of hoping to start my next cake in pink, but my next cake is either dark blue on the outside or the light blue on the inside. So I'm trying to decide if I want to take this out and start on the pink and then just keep going. So that's where I'm at with that. So really liking it so far. It's a pretty quick pattern. Obviously it slows down the bigger you get. It doesn't go as fast, but I like it so far. Okay, so my next whip is one that I started. I was feeling really good about myself for finishing all those other projects, so I decided to start a new one. And I showed this yarn maybe last time. So this is the one I was talking about for that blue hat. It's just the same yarn in blue. And I got 6 of these to make something for my mom for her birthday. Now her birthday's not till November, but I thought I might as well get a head start. And the baby blanket that I just showed you, they're not due till October, but head start, like I said. So I decided, I was going back and forth on what to make my mom with this. I decided on, it's called the Seafoam Cardigan by Yay for Yarn. And she has a YouTube tutorial and a blog post about it. It's basically just supposed to be like a short sleeve, long flowy kimono type cardigan. But she used Red Heart Super Saver ombre and a size 8mm hook. but like I talked about, this is a 3 weight, and so it's a little bit lighter. So I'm using a 7mm hook, and so I'm not following her tutorial as far as numbers go. I'm just adjusting it to fit. Now, since this is for my mom, it is kind of guesswork. She's a little bit taller than me. I'm only 5 feet tall, so I'm pretty short. So I decided to make it as long as my V-stitch top by Darla from the Crafty Yarn that I showed a little while ago. Since that was really long on me, and this is supposed to be a little bit long, that was kind of my logic for that. So here it is so far. It's basically just double crochets and then double crochet chain 1 and some spots. This is a little bit more than 1 skein. I just started adding 1 more skein, the second skein, this afternoon. And it's going to be it's basically just 2 panels sewn together. So this is just the first panel. I'm really liking it, how it's working up so far. Even though it's really long, it goes pretty quick with the larger hook and just plain double crochets over and over. You don't have to think about it too hard. I was going to say something else. I don't remember. Yeah, I guess we'll move on from that because I don't remember what I was going to say. So, I started that this last week. And alright, so my next work in progress is not crochet related. And I just started this maybe yesterday, and I've already got this far. So on my last video, I showed some fat quarters fabric that I got in red, white, and blue colors to make like a 4th of July decoration. So what I'm making is this kind of a map of the United States in those colors. Basically what I did was I designed this I have a silhouette machine, and I designed it on the program on the computer. I took like a coloring page of the United States and I traced it, and so then I was able to get each individual shape of each state. And then I put like sticky interfacing on the back of the fabric, and then I was having my machine draw the outline of each shape, and then my machine decided to stop talking to my computer. So then I ended up having to do half of it by hand. I printed the shapes off and cut them out by hand. So that was kind of a pain in the butt. And then I have, it's hard to see, but there's a dark blue outline all the way around. So I cut out also just the whole United States in one dark blue color. And then, so there was supposed to be kind of an outline in between each state. And for some reason, over here, and this isn't ironed down yet, this is just the sticky interfacing. Over here I have like larger gaps. And then the further you get over to the East Coast, they're like overlapping. But there's supposed to be a little bit of a gap in between each state. So, but I knew that would be kind of an issue just by cutting things out by hand. But whatever. So this is just a piece of cardboard that this is on. It's just taped on right now, so I'd have a flat surface to work on. My plan is to sew around the edges of each state, and so I'll take the cardboard off, obviously, but then I will put it back on the cardboard, like staple it on or something, so it's kind of like a canvas. And this cardboard is actually a cake board for decorating cakes. I used to decorate cakes a lot, and so I had this one laying around, but I could have also just used a random piece of cardboard from a box. My original, when I first started this, I was going to make it bigger. I was going to steal like a thing of wood from my mom because she always has wood, but I forgot, and so I just used what I had on hand. So for Hawaii over here has little teeny tiny islands, and then I couldn't cut out the islands from Alaska because they were so small, so I gave up on those. So I apologize if you live in one of those states that they don't look quite as good. So there's that. That's like 2 days worth of work and frustration going on there. Alright, so those are all my works in progress, but I do have quite a bit of acquisitions from the last few weeks, and it was not necessarily intentional. So first, before I went to my mom's house, like the week before, I saw that Michael's was having a clearance event, and I don't live near Michael's, but my mom does. So I texted her, I was like, hey, you want to go to Michael's for me? And so she did, and she was trying to like send me pictures, and that wasn't really working, so we ended up doing a video call so I could kind of see what she was looking at. So instead of making her look at every single kind of yarn, I told her to look for things that would be good for baby boy blankets. So baby blankets are one of my favorite things to make, and somehow I always have like girl colors on hand, but not as many boy colors. So I figured if she could find a few that would be good for boy blankets, I could have some on hand for whenever we need a boy blanket made. So that was kind of her goal of what she was looking for. So we did get a few things first, and they were all clearanced. This Karen Big Cakes, and this is the color Blue Macaroon. And my mom was complaining because her phone was making everything look a little bit more blue and a little prettier, she thought, than they did in real life. So she was like warning me like, oh, it's not as pretty in real life. And so yes, this is a little more, it's not like pastel-y like you would think for a baby blanket, but I think it would be just fine. So we got 2 of those, and these were $5, I believe. And then, so the next, I'll just throw these on the floor, was this one, the Kai by Loops and Threads. It's 308 yards and a lightweight 3. Pretty sure it's 100% acrylic, yeah. And I'd seen this before in other similar yarns, and I've always wanted to try it. So I had her get 3 of these, and these I believe were $3. So she was like, well, they're not like a great sale because they're normally like $5. But I was like, whatever, I like them, let's get them. So there's that. And then the third thing she got at Michael's was a Caron 1-pounder. And this was the one she was, see, it's not even showing up the right color on there. She was even like, it's really, I thought it looked like an aqua color, and it's more of a light sage. And what it's showing up right now is kind of what I thought it was going to be. And so she's like, it's really, it is called soft sage. And she's like, it's really not that great. And I'm like, well, I still like it, even if it's more green than blue. I still think it could make something good. So we got that. But in a little bit, I'll show you something that I might actually make with it instead of a baby blanket. Anyway, so then while I was at my mom's house, she also has a Hobby Lobby. And we went, and it was not the 30% off week. So I wasn't going to get a lot of yarn. But when it's not 30% off of yarn, it's 30% off of thread and 50% off of beads. And so I like making the necklaces with the thread and beads, so I did get a few things. I got the number 2 nylon thread in like this creamy color. The nylon is a little more shiny than the cotton, so I do have some of both, and I just use whatever I feel like make at the time. And then they have lots of colors of this just cotton thread. Yep, 100% mercerized Egyptian cotton. So I liked that color. They had some variegated colors. They had lots. It's 400 yards and normally $2.89, so it was 30% off of that. Then I also got some beads. I like these like bead sets that they have. I almost got like a Christmassy one, but I decided to go with this purple one. Just, I don't feel like I have a lot of purple in my bead stash right now, so I got that. And then, I also got some fabric to line my skirt with. So as soon as I'm done with my next 7 or 8 or so rows, I will have to figure out how I'm going to line that. So that's what that was for. And I also got the Yarn Bee Scrubology Scrub It, and this is the color bright pink. And I have used this before. Last year my mom bought a few of these for me to make her scrubbies out of, and I do have a little bit of scrap left over, but I wanted to make myself some scrubbies. So I used my 40% off coupon on this because yarn was not on sale. So while we were at Hobby Lobby, my grandma called my mom and we were talking about what we were getting, and she's like, "Oh, I need some scrubbies too. I want some bright green ones." And so we looked and they didn't have a bright green of the Scrub It yarn. So what we got was a white and then a Yarn Bee Scrubology cotton in this kind of limeish green color. So I figured I could just hold, because I really do not like scrubby yarn like this. When I was making scrubbies for my mom last year, we had some of the Red Heart scrubby that's like this, and I tried to make just a regular scrubby with just this, nothing held together, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't find my stitches. So I ended up doing a lot of like holding this with this or holding regular cotton with this. So that's my plan for these. So my mom ended up buying these, but I got to take them home and use them. So that's my Hobby Lobby. And then today we went garage sale shopping, and we were at a random garage sale. It was actually like a business that was closing down or something, but they were calling it a garage sale. Oops. And they had these, a whole bunch of these strands of beads. Now I like to find at garage sales or thrift stores strands of little beads that I would then, or necklaces that I'd then cut apart to use in my beads, or to make my own necklaces. Sorry, I can't even talk tonight. So I asked her how much they'd be, because they weren't labeled or anything. She's like, "Well, how about 50 cents per strand?" So I picked out like 8 strands, like, okay, $4 sounds good. And then I start walking away, and she goes to the table, she just picks up the whole pile. She's like, "Hey, do you want all of them?" It's like, "Well, sure, I won't say no to that." So I got all of these. So I still ended up paying the $4 for them, but way more than 8. And then there was a few like costume jewelry type things in there that I don't really need, but my girls will play with them. So kind of excited about that. I guess I don't need beads for a while. And then a different garage sale. They had a lot of fabric, and I was bummed they didn't have any yarn, but I found this. It's a fun little cigar holder, but I knew that what was in it was going to be some crochet hooks. And not that I need these sizes. There's a J, 2 G's, an E, and an F. Yeah. And they wanted just $1 for these. So I was like, sure, why not? I do use J's, but I don't really go below H very often. But, oh well, now I have them. So the last thing I want to talk about is this, just dropped my thread, this crazy idea that I have, and I wasn't sure if I was going to show you or not until I tried it, but we're going to show you anyway. So I had this idea to make some sort of crocheted bag, but using the bottom out of a placemat. So I went to the dollar store and I was trying to find a placemat, because theirs are a little bit smaller, and they had 0 circle placemats when I went. They had like the weird vinyl plasticky rectangle ones, but I didn't want those. I wanted one like this. So this is from Walmart. It's a little bit bigger. I couldn't decide on the color. There was like kind of a brownie one, but I figured this one might be easier to match a yarn to. And then once I got it, see, I have ideas and then I don't think them through all the way before I start working on them. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do like a lacy mesh like market bag type bag, or if I wanted it more solid like backpack drawstring type bag, and I think I'm leaning towards that direction. So yeah, I was gonna just start with a circle on the bottom, and then maybe either use my yarn needle to put an edging around, and then just start crocheting up and around. But then I realized my Caron 1 pound kind of matches this color, so I think I'm going to use that. So I think I'm leaning towards the more solid drawstring type bag. I just haven't decided what kind of stitch I want to use. I don't want it to be too much of a yarn eater. I don't know how, I mean, yeah, this is a lot of yards. It's 812 yards. But at the same time, this is kind of big. So I don't know how far it will actually go. So I don't want to use like a waffle stitch that's going to eat the yarn crazy like. But I also don't want it lacy. So I think I'm kind of leaning towards just like a basic shell stitch, or I kind of thought about doing some sort of like ripple, but I wasn't sure how that would work around this, since a ripple normally is going to be zigzaggy. I don't know if that makes any sense, but if you have any ideas of what you would do and how you would make a placemat and some yarn into a bag, feel free to share, because I might have no idea what I'm talking about. So yeah, I think that's everything. Okay, sorry, I was looking at my list. Yeah, so that's everything for today. I normally like to say what I'm going to work on next, but I don't know. I think I just need to finish my skirt and work on my other whips, and I really don't like starting projects. Starting is my least favorite thing to do. I like having projects to work on, but I don't like to necessarily start them. And I like to be able to finish one before starting another. I don't like to have like a million going on. So maybe once I finish the map, that's probably the closest to being done, or the skirt, then maybe I'll start something new. Or maybe maybe I'll start the bag. I don't know. We'll see. I did want to start that campfire cardigan that I've been talking about. And I did bring the yarn for that with me to my mom's house, and I just wasn't motivated to even sit down and start it. So once I've started something, I'm motivated to work on it. Just getting started is the hardest part for me for some reason. But yeah, so that's it. I did just record a video for the Christmas in July fairies that I'll probably end up posting before this, because it's a lot shorter and will be easier to edit. So be on the lookout for that, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.